Welcome to Stars Wild Preview of the Upper Bowl Podcast. We have friend of the program. He goes to a lot of Stars games to cover them at 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, Texas. You can listen to his work on Locked On Sports Detroit and also on the weekend show, The Fan University on 105.3 The Fan. I'd like to welcome back to the program. You've heard him guest the lines on this past football season. I'd like to welcome him back, Jake Riepma. Jake, how are we doing? And I got to say, how much fun did you cover the Stars this year, by the way?
Oh, my goodness. Trevor Harris, great to be back, my friend. Great to be back on the Upper Bowl pod, and it just doesn't get any more exciting than that. But look, it's been a blast covering the Stars all season long. The season in and of itself was a little bit unique with the Olympics this year, so you had the break there, and the Stars kind of had, a period throughout the regular season where they looked unbeatable, and then they got into a little bit of a funk and then closed it out winning 7 consecutive games. But at the end of the day, it's another 50-win season, 3 straight 50-win seasons for the Stars. So very, very impressive. And Glenn Goldson in his first year, I think, has implemented a fine combination we keep talking about around here in DFW between playing on instinct and utilizing the system. So Maverick Bork touched on it quite a bit in his post-game interview after the win over Buffalo, that you're playing on instincts, but they've got a great system to rely on as well. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's good. Well, not to get totally into the weeds like we usually do. What's the system usually, which is like 3D? What have you noticed when you've covered them anyways?
Well, I think a big part of this Stars team was, could they get over the hump and be a little bit more physical? And it's a perfect segue into their first round matchup with the Minnesota Wild, who want to be as physical as any team out there.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the playoff format and everything else, because you've got an 82 game season where the Stars and Wild were 2 of the best teams in the National Hockey League, and now they're going to play each other in the first round. But I'm sure you've got that on the rundown that we'll cover. But
it's on the rundown anyway. I love how you have the view of the notes without me sharing the document.
I was just going to say, that means we're on the same page, brother. We're on the same page. But
it's like Boston, Toronto in the late 2010s. Like they're one of the few best teams in the East. They got to play each other. So here we go. Anyway, so.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I think Golitson's done a good job. Especially, I mean, he was known as a power play guy. The power play's been really good. Wyatt Johnston has set a franchise record for most power play goals, and not just the Dallas Stars record, but breaking the Minnesota North Stars record as well. So Dino Ciccarelli's record he broke for most power play goals in a season. He's really feasted in Glenn Golitson's system. And then I mentioned implementing more physicality. It helps when, I know Mikko Rantanen was out for a period of time this year, but he kind of leads the charge up front physically. Jamie Benn coming back strong after his injury. And so there's just been a lot of little elements that have improved that component of the game for this Dallas Stars team over the course of the regular season. But as I'm probably going to say once, twice, maybe 100 times in the next 20 minutes, now it all matters in the playoffs.
Yeah. It does matter anyways. Like, we finally have a matchup. This matchup was very set in stone. Well, the West of the conference, I don't know if we can call it a pillow fight, a rock fight. No one knows.
No, we can call it a pillow fight. We can absolutely call it a pillow fight.
We can call it a pillow fight, because the Pacific Division was a bleep show anyways. Like, who wants to play defense like the Anaheim Ducks? No one knows who's going to play each other until like late last night as we're recording this anyways on a Friday morning. So at least, like, I knew one thing. I was like, at least I'm preparing for one series. It's already made already. At least, like, I got my notes already. Glenn Golson, I like to say I don't know if can you say he changed the culture of like how the Stars played hockey? Is that too crazy to say right now in his first year?
I wouldn't quite get there yet. And I think, unfortunately or fortunately, it's just the way it is. The barometer and the grading process is all going to be hashed out here in the playoffs, because, and again, not to be a broken record, but the Stars team has had a lot of regular season success. We just touched on, 3 straight 50-win seasons. So it's not, I hate, and I'm not taking anything away from Goalie, because I think he's done a great job in his first year, but they've met the standard that's already been set with a tremendous regular season. This is a team that's been to the last 2 Western Conference Finals. So and it's again, it's probably not fair, but the expectations are sky sky high, and they've met those expectations right now to this point, getting up to this point. But now it's about getting over them. And again, and I think Gully knew what he was. I mean, of course, he knew what he was getting into.
He walked in what he's doing anyway. So
right.
I have to take this team to the Western Conference Final, or it's a bust anyways of the season.
Yeah, which is crazy to say out loud, especially given, I mean, the first two matchups that the Stars are staring, and I'm not looking past Minnesota by any means. They've been really good. And, we'll talk about how good Minnesota has been. But, if whoever wins this series, whether it's Dallas or Minnesota, you got the Colorado Avalanche waiting for you. So it'd be crazy to start talking about, conference finals, Stanley Cup finals with so much work to be done immediately in front of the Dallas Stars. And I think they know that as a team. Any of these guys on any interview at any time, whether it's, the leadership team, whether it's Jamie Benn, the captain, whether it's, focal point players or guys that are, rookies like Justin Ristkovian, who have had a huge impact. Artu Huru, who's been really good recently. These are all guys that understand, and I hate to be cheesy and cliche, but they understand the assignment. They understand what it means to wear the Dallas Stars sweater and the expectations around this team.
Definitely, for sure. Let's talk about this matchup. You got Stars Wild. You got Glenn Gulleson, who first year, 2.0, I'm calling it. Glenn Gulleson 2.0. He's back in Dallas. His first stint in Dallas, he had no money to work with anyway. So he's got money to work with. John Hines is the Wild head coach. Can we say this is kind of a rivalry, but it has a potential to become a great rivalry within the series? Would you say that?
Well, I think it's absolutely a rivalry. And look at the last game these two teams played in the regular season at the American Airlines Center, back and forth. The Stars erased not one, but two goal deficits. And it was physical. It was it felt like a playoff matchup already in the regular season. And, there's fights, there's everything that you bargain for in a hotly contested playoff matchup. So I think we're absolutely there. And the thought of this team, lining up for at least 4 games, and we all likely know that that's going to be 5, 6, or 7.
Just saying 7 already.
7, yeah. That's probably not a bad prediction by any means. So it's exciting, but it's also like every bit. Roll up the sleeves, drop the gloves. This is absolutely a rivalry.
It is a rivalry. It's also, as someone who's like going to be nerd out on the television, at least the NHL got it right with a great lead-in game of Flyers Penguins, then to Wild Stars. So you got really good hatred between all 4 teams anyways.
Yeah. On Saturday, you're saying tomorrow.
On Saturday and on Monday too anyways. So that's the crazy part. So there's a lot of USA hockey star power in this game. What I mean by that, you have Hughes and Ottinger from the Olympic team. You have Robertson, who had an incredible season this year, who's not on the Olympic team. You have Matt Boldy. You have a lot of USA hockey star power. This is good, right?
Oh, absolutely. And Boldy is an interesting one. We were talking about it this morning on 105.3, The Fan, that he's just really burst onto the scene and had such a great season. And unless you're, in the weeds of the NHL, you might not know, a casual fan might not know Matt Boldy, and he's been really, really good. And I think is going to be among several really important factors for the Stars to shut down if they want to have a chance of winning, because and to the rivalry point, he took a shot. Who was it at? I want to say it was Robo, but somebody in the last game that, evoked more physical play and more the after the whistle stuff. And so I think he's got a target on his back in this series. And, again, if you and I, and I would assume most of the listeners, like, they understand that's playoff hockey. And you love it. And that's part of the equation, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Definitely, for sure. I think the best thing is this matchup between Wyatt Johnson, Jason Robertson versus Boldy, and my favorite Russian, Kirill Kaprizov. How about that?
Yeah, Kaprizov's a beast, man. I'm selfishly, I guess, just from observing and as a person covering the sport, you have to admire what he's able to do on the ice, his knack for scoring goals. And then, I know you touched on Quinn Hughes as well, but the star power, and I guess no pun intended.
I'm not trying to, but it's
right,
true, honestly.
right. The best players on the ice are going to be fun to watch in this one. There's a lot of talented guys, both defensively and goal scorers, and that's why these two teams have had so much success in the regular season.
I'm going to ask injury updates now for you.
Oh, this could just take up the rest of the pod, man.
I know. There's a lot of the Stars are banged up, I've noticed, by the way.
Unfortunately, yeah. Goalie gave an update earlier this week where we'll start with Rope Hintz because
that was my first one to go with anyway.
Yeah, he unfortunately had a setback in his recovery and the rehab because there was a growing belief amongst the DFW area that he was kind of not a guarantee, but trending in that direction. And then Gully came out a couple days ago and said, no, we're not going to have him. And he didn't put a timetable on it, which is a little bit concerning. So, and you know how everybody is in the NHL, everything's close to the vest and whatnot. But Gully said not for game 1 or game 2, and we'll see after that type of approach to it. So anytime you're not, pinpointing an exact return, it's a little bit concerning. Now, I say all that, and obviously it's worth repeating. And I've said this on your show and pretty much any show I go on. I have no medical expertise, knowledge, or even the slightest brain cell that could equate any type of timeline to a player's recovery or injuries or anything of that matter. So this is all just repeating what the coach said and taking it straight from the horse's mouth. But
when did this injury happen, if you don't mind me asking? Because I don't remember it. Like pop up on my
no, it was in the second part of the regular season, and it was one of those. It wasn't in the moment. I forget which game it was. I really do. But I want to say it was relatively recent after the Olympic break. Yeah, and I'm when you had, and this is bad to say, but you have as many injuries as the Stars did with Radek Faksa and Miro's out, and obviously everybody. Everybody that's working back. Admittedly, the timelines get a little blurry there.
Yes, definitely. What is Miro's situation right now? I've looked. I didn't go to Puckpedia for this. He has a lower body injury. He's questionable for game 1, by the way, for the first round 26 for postseason.
Yeah, I don't
ready to go. You think, or is he?
I don't think he's going to. Yeah, I don't think he's going to play game 1. Everything I was listening to this morning before I hopped on. The Stars are kind of preparing not to have him. And from a preparation standpoint, I think that's the easiest way to go about it. Because, if it's one of those things, okay, yeah, let's insert him, no problem. And he's ready to go. But everything I listen to right now, I think it's trending for him not to play.
Okay. Because I'm kind of trying to figure out who the deep pairings are going to look like. Who's going to be called up? This. It's going to be really interesting what's going to happen because Minnesota does not have much injuries at all. Like Quinn Hughes is like day to day with an illness, but he'll be fine anyways. As I last checked, but it's really going to see how can the Stars handle going up against Minnesota's high powered offense and stuff. It doesn't matter if it's on the front end or the back end, anyways.
Yeah, no doubt, and I think it'll be incumbent upon guys like Liam Bichel, Thomas Harley to step up if Miro's not out there. Essa Lindell's played really well as of late. He's even inserted himself on the offensive side and played pretty well offensively. Nils Lundqvist, Labushkin, all those guys are willing and capable. And then, of course, the deadline acquisition of Tyler Myers. Alexander Petrovic got a lot of playoff experience last year, so he's another guy that can step in there and certainly feel comfortable on the blue line for the Stars in that third pairing. So obviously Miro is as good as they come, a Norris Trophy quality type defenseman. So it's a huge loss, but I think hopefully he'll be available at some point in the series, but I don't think it's going to be game 1.
How's Miro? How's Mikko Rantanen been since his injuries from the post-Olympic, by the way?
Yeah, I think he's fully back. He's a tank. He's a workhorse. He's a monster out there. And I think for the Stars to reach their full potential and reach where they want to go, he's going to have to be, maybe not quite Superman like he was in last year's playoffs, because that tear that he was on was just insane. The hat trick in Game 7 to beat Colorado, just insane stuff that we'll never forget. Legendary stuff from Mikko Rantanen, and he's always got that in his back pocket, which is the best, because at any given night you step into the arena, and if Mikko Rantanen is healthy and lacing him up, he's got a chance to just go off. He's that good, and on top of that, I think the combination of playing a full year with the Dallas Stars last year, he was a deadline acquisition. That's been huge, and just the comfort and familiarity he's shown with his line mates, and the chemistry there has had an entire season to blossom, other than the time he was out with the injury, of course, but it's been fun to see. So that's a big part I'm anxiously anticipating for the Stars.
How huge has it been? He's been here for the full year, not like last year was like a deadline acquisition. Would you say for Mikko? Would you say?
Yeah, no, that's been amazing, especially because whether it's the Finland 4 that represented
Mafia.
Yeah, right. And just having the chance to get acclimated and everything that a full season allows a star player to get comfortable in his new role. And I'd also add that just the way the Stars, of course, the Stars fans and everybody else have welcomed him with open arms, but it feels like there's even more of the at home, comfort this year than there was last year. And you get that full year, and he's been vocal about loving being in Dallas and wanting to be in Dallas for the foreseeable future. So I think that all plays a role in all of it.
Definitely, for sure. All right, this is the big question. Ottinger got pulled last year during Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. How is he going to respond since Pete DeBoer's not there? Well, has Glenn Gulson rebuilt him, would you say?
Yeah, that of course a ton's going to get made of that entire scenario, and I am of the belief, and I've said this publicly a couple of times, so I don't mind repeating it. I think Casey DeSmith is as good as they get as a backup, and it's a good problem to have. But Ottinger has earned the opportunity to represent the Stars and lead them between the pipes. And I'm just curious what the first sign of adversity is going to dictate for Ottinger, because, and again, this is no disrespect. This is just going on past data points. Yeah. It wasn't great that past series, and I know DeBoer took a lot of heat, and he threw Ottinger under the bus in a lot of ways, and that probably is the reason why, in a lot of ways, that Pete DeBoer is no longer the head coach of the Dallas Stars. But at the same time, a lot of what DeBoer said was not factually incorrect. Ottinger just had not been a big game goalie down the stretch in the Western Conference Finals, which is unfortunate, because you could make the case that he was as good of a big game goalie in the early portion of the playoffs. I mean, any Game 7 there was, even last series against Winnipeg, he was so much better than Connor Hellebuck. And the matchups against Colorado, he was certainly the best goalie on the ice in that series, and in Game 7 he was really good. So he has enough status, data points where he's been really, really good. It's just when the bottom's falling out, when it rains it pours kind of thing. He's been really, really tough. There's been some really, really tough performances. So I wish I had some kind of crystal ball to know how he's going to respond, and he really doesn't say a lot in the dressing room.
He speaks on media day, which is the day he starts. It's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. And you don't get a ton there though, but he he understands as a veteran in this league what it's all about, and he knows the assignment.
Definitely. All right.
Excuse me. Wow. I could feel that one coming. The allergies. Don't worry. We're good.
It's allergy season.
It is.
All right. I got to ask you one question. What are your thoughts when Pete DeBoer got hired as the New York Islanders head coach on Easter Sunday, by the way?
What a wild story. The NHL, man. It's I mean, between him and Tor in Vegas, just insane stuff. The Islanders one was so interesting because it was so late. Like
Yes.
you can't, I mean, what was there? You said Easter Sunday, so what? There was a half a dozen games left, just
Yeah.
insane. And I understand the Islanders were eliminated and everything, and it is what it is. But what did they expect DeBoer to do in that short amount of time?
There's
And
like 4 games left. He was like,
yeah, I mean, just it had to reach a serious level of toxicity to think that that last ditched effort could make any kind of difference. So I'm not between the four walls of the New York Islanders headquarters to know
what the hell happened.
all the ins and outs, but obviously covering the league and you see something like that, it's just mind numbing how those moves are made. But I guess the flip side of that, it would be unfair not to say, hey, if this works out, like what a brilliant move. But
True.
I think you're kind of up the creek without a paddle if you expect Pete DeBoer to come in and make some kind of miraculous change with just 4 games left.
Definitely. All right. Two final questions. Are the Stars the best team to beat in the Western Conference, not named the Colorado Avalanche?
I think so. That's obviously going to be biased because I'm the one thinking like that, covering this team day in and day out. You see the talent on the ice, and the health question is real, though. I mean, Miro Heiskanen, as I said, is one of the elite defenders in the National Hockey League, but if he's not out there, he's not helping you. Jake Ottinger is an elite level goaltender on the Olympic team and everything else, but he's also had instances where he hasn't been that way. And there's times where, I felt like Casey DeSmith was maybe 1A and Jake Ottinger was, there was a goalie competition. Not everybody felt that way. And DeSmith didn't play exceptionally well late in the regular season, so that kind of put that to bed. But yeah, I mean, up and down this roster, I think they're as deep as anybody. And the question is going to be is can they play physical enough to help their chances in that area of a grueling, grinded out series that they're inevitably going to face in the first round with the Wild. And then if they're able to get past them, inevitably going to face in Colorado. So it's just an insane format, and I'm not making excuses. It just, I disagree with the approach to the NHL playoff format, because then on the Eastern Conference side, you got 7 playing 8, and it's like, what are we doing here? So there's a lot of issues that reared its ugly head with this NHL playoff schedule and format based on the way that Bettman and everybody thought it'd be a great idea to do.
The East was super competitive this year, and not named the Atlantic anyways. So,
yeah. There you go.
And we can blame the Pacific being a pillow fight anyways. All right, Wild and Stars. How many games is it going to go?
Oh, I love this. I'm going to take Stars in 7 because I do think it's going to go the full 7. And right, wrong, or indifferent, these are 2 really, really good teams. Home ice will be crucial. And I think the team that can get off to a fast start consistently is important. But I also would note that the Stars have been one of the best teams in the NHL at coming back because they haven't started so great. But it's not something you want to make a habit of doing. But with the firepower the Stars have, I don't think they're ever out of it.
At least we're on the same boat. I say Stars in 7. Duncan Dad. He chose the Minnesota Wild in 6.
Of course he did. Unbelievable.
I know.
Unbelievable. Tell Duncan Dad I have a bone to pick with him.
Hey, we'll have you on in a couple of weeks during the playoff. How about that? You have the link anyway, so you just jump in this anytime.
There you go. Jake,
it's always great talking to you. It's been too long since we haven't talked since Guess the Line, so I hope you enjoy the Stanley Cup playoffs. I will say that for sure.
Yeah, right back at you, Trevor. Appreciate you having me on, and it's always